I'm recording now, and it's a great pleasure, great pleasure to welcome here Zuzana Schreiberová, who is going to speak to us today about, will give a talk entitled Ukrainian Refugees in the Czech Republic, Experiences and Reactions. And Zuzana Schreiberová has received her bachelor degree in liberal arts from the Faculty of Humanities, where she focused her research on today's Prague Jewish community. She then received an MA degree in general anthropology with a specialization in historical anthropology, narrative analysis, and memory studies. She has been volunteering to help refugees in Prague since 2015, and she is currently the director of the nonprofit Multicultural Centre in Prague. And for those of you who are on the Zoom chat, if you look inside the chat, I put there a link where you can donate money to the, well, Zuzana will talk about it, to the portion of her sort of efforts that are going toward what she's going to talk about today. And I'll put in the chat again later at the bottom, and I'll also send an email to everybody in the room today. It follows anybody who's registered. So Zuzana, I will give the floor to you, and just let me know when to go to the next slide, and I'll do that.
Okay, thank you. So thank you, and I am really happy that I can be here. And first, I have to apologize. My English is all foreigners, but for me, is this really special case because I never study English at school or at the language school, and I learned the English only from the movies. So sorry that my English wouldn't be perfect, but I will try to do my best. And I want to tell you a little bit more about me and about my background. How Chet mentioned, I studied historical anthropology on the Faculty of Humanities of the Charles University in Prague. And Chet already told something about my specialization. And I have to say that my life was the really life-changing experience was the arrival of the refugees in 2015. And because I study narrativism, I know the power of the words. So I am trying little bit change the discourse in Czech Republic and don't use the words as the wave, the refugee wave or crisis, because I really believe that our words are creating reality. So I am trying now when I make the trainings for volunteers or for the social workers, I am trying to don't speak about waves and crisis and so on, but really speak about the arrival of the people. And another important moment is that I am speaking about the refugees from Ukraine, not about Ukrainian refugees, because maybe I will speak a little bit more about that. Not only native Ukrainians are coming to Czech Republic for finding shelter here, but also, for example, the Roma from Ukrainian or the foreign students, or also the Russian people who had the long-term residence in Ukraine. And I put on this first slide, I put something about my past, because really it was in September 2015 when I came for the first time to the Prague main station, and we decided with my colleague from my PhD studies, we decided to make here some really basic assistance for refugees who came in this time, especially mainly from Syria or Afghanistan. And we just, because the most of them was locked in the Czech detention centers, and they had to pay for their stay here. It was about 20 euro per person per day, and they came to the Prague main station without absolutely nothing, without money, in summer clothes, without cell phone and so on. And we just provided them the basic help and allowed them continue to other countries, because after this horrible experience, almost no one of them won't stay in the Czech Republic. And on the pictures, you can see first pictures is from my engagement in this main station initiative Initiativa Hlavák, and this is one Hazar family from Afghanistan, and we took care about them. They spent just a few days in Prague, and after they continued to Germany. The picture in the middle is when I was active in a settlement program for Iraqi Christians in Czech Republic, and it was really challenging time, but I have this experience that maybe is connected with the Middle Eastern culture, that when Arab family adopt you, it's for always. So I am still in touch with these Iraqi families, and yeah, and I have to say it for me it was challenging because I have background in culture and historical anthropology, but when you are helping to the refugees, you are doing a lot of the things that came naturally, but really often they are not the best things you can do, because really, and this is also my engagement now, I am providing the trainings for volunteers, because it's really important to, I don't know, set your personal borders, how much you are willing and able to help. Or also, it's really natural that we have something like the paternalistic approach to the refugees. We are these clever ones who knows what is the best for them. And I am trying to teach people that we have to ask the refugees themselves for their needs, because yeah, they are the ground adult people. They won't have their own autonomy. They won't be responsible for their life. They are not the kids, and only barrier that they have, or the only hurdle that they have, is just the language or the orientation in a new environment, but they want to be active in their lives. Okay, can I ask for the next slide? Yep, the previous one, yeah. And I started to help refugees in the year 2015, in 2016, and it was the moment when the anti-Islam movement in Czech Republic was incredibly strong. And myself, but also the Multicultural Centre, we are really continuously under attack from anti-migrant movements or some populist politicians. And it was really hard times, and I experienced a lot of the cyberbullying, or for example, somebody put on the door of Multicultural Centre the hangman, yeah, for home treason, and sign on his neck. So it was really a challenging time, but now I can say that now I am really feeling the satisfaction that I stay in this position, I stayed active, and in this moment when almost 300,000 Ukrainian refugees came, or refugees from Ukraine came to the Czech Republic, I am feeling really big satisfaction, because I exactly know what I should do. And I have knowledge, I have know-how, I have experience, and I can provide help or provide consultation to the lot of the volunteers activities. Because, and I can ask for the next slide. Because I have to say the first reaction of the Czech society, including our Prime Minister Petr Fiala, who is from the conservative and economical right party, ODS, the reaction of the state representative, because we have a new government, I don't know, 3-4 months after ruling of Andrej Babiš, the populist politician, and the first reaction of politicians, government, elites, is really great, we can see really the unprecedented solidarity for refugees from Ukraine. For example, I put also there the collection of money or donation for people in need, the biggest NGO in Czech Republic, and it's about 70 million euro. And but in the same time, it's existing already some negative sentiments against the refugees. I will speak a little bit more about it later. And those people are really loud. And sometimes when you check the discussions on the social media, you can under every post about help to the refugee from Ukraine, you can see a lot of the commentary. What about our people? And those people from Ukraine are invaders, and so on and so on. But when you see this picture with Ukrainian flag, you can see there is the text, "Stop Ukrainization of the Czech Republic." Yeah, and it's the same narrative as "Stop Islamization of the Czech Republic." Yeah, they are not. The hatred against Ukrainians is not so strong how it was by Muslim refugees from Syria or Afghanistan, but I can see really clearly they are the same narratives, the same strategy, how the people trying I don't know, attacked the Ukrainian refugees. But the under this flag, you can see the infographic from the public opinion against system. And when you see that, you can see that only 3% of the inhabitants of Czech Republic are against acceptance of refugees from Ukrainian. Okay, next slide. Yeah. Maybe you can find that this slide hard, but I can confirm that this is the really development in disinformation scene in Czech Republic. That people who were in 2015 against Islam, migration, refugees, was in the 2020 really strongest anti-vaxxers, and they really joined the anti-vax movement or all this COVID-19 denial movement. And now a lot of them, I can say most of the disinformation group on social media, especially on Facebook, are really now openly supported Russian invasion to Ukraine. And this disinformation in 2015 against the refugees from Ukraine, from Syria and Afghanistan, it was my reason when I started to be active on the field of monitoring disinformation. I'm saying monitoring because my experience is that just debunking or fact-checking of disinformation doesn't work. Because it's all those kinds of narratives, all of those kinds of fears, and so on. This is the emotional thing. When you provide to this kind of people the arguments to the rational position, you debunk those hoax or fake news, they didn't believe. Because it's really important that all those kinds of fake news or disinformation are playing to their own fears. And I have to say, we can say that, for example, the biggest percentage of votes for those populistic parties are in the same area. They are really with biggest rate of debt, social exclusion, and so on. This kind of people, and I can say that is probably the same situation as in the United States. This kind of people had the feeling that the government, the power ones, forgot on them, and they need some enemy. They need somebody who is maybe in a more vulnerable position themselves, and they find this target in refugees. And never mind if they are the refugees from Iraq or Syria or from Ukraine. And I can also see in these disinformation groups, I have fake identity on Facebook, and it's really helpful. And I can say, really, we are living in the bubble. And every time when I go in deep to the disinformation groups, and I go to this my fake profile, I can see that really is another world, and this is the opposite world in the comparison to my usual cultural, open, liberal world and environment. And unfortunately, there are the same types of disinformation. Maybe not so spread, but the narratives or constructions are the same. There is the fear of the security the security reasons. For example, in the case of refugees from the Muslim countries, it was the Islamic terrorism. In the case of Ukrainians, it was, for example, the Ukrainians mafia or the spies or secret agents in between the refugees. Is the sexualization really strong? The Muslim migrants came to rape our women, and I can see that this sexualization is also in the position, but is depicted as the passive, that the Ukrainian women will describe as the target of the sexual lust. And also there is the one really small, but is the cultural difference between Czech and Ukrainian women. They really take care about their look, how they look, if, for example, the Polish nails, or have the makeup or nice clothes. And a lot of the people was shocked by that, because they have their own image of refugee, of like somebody who just in this moment ran from the war and have only I don't know, dirty clothes and so on. And I can imagine that the Ukrainian women keep care about themselves in the train, because the femininity, or to be I don't know, nice looking and so on, is really important for them, and it's their way how they can show their dignity. So, but for example, first days of after Russian invasion, it was really cliche about the Ukrainian women with Polish, with nail polish, and the third thing is really this really common narrative about our people, and I can understand them, and I don't feel any kind of hatred to those people, because they are, and it is my experience also from this previous experience with migration in 2015, 2016. Those people are just scared. They are not the bad people. And what is also my experience from the Czech Republic, it's really easy to be afraid from something not present, yeah, and or about image of something. But when they met their own refugees, or and never mind if they are from Ukraine or from Iraq and so on, is a lot of the prejudice or stereotypes vanished. Okay, can I ask for next slide? Yeah, I am really proud for this slide. There is the content of that you can find in one disinformation group. This disinformation group is called Neočkovaní, unvaccinated. And in this group, you can see on this graph, on this infographic, that you can see how the narratives in this group was changed. that really this group was created as the group for anti-vax supporters or anti-vax activists. But you can see exactly around 12 February 2022 that the topics of vaccination or COVID restriction, because it was really also strong topic, are going down, and the topic of Ukrainian or Russian war propaganda is rising. And I really can see that on my own eyes. And also, for example, this group, neočkovaní, unvaccinated, add to his title after Russian invasion, against war for peace. Yeah, and you can see this is also really nice because you can see really pure Russian narrative about what is going on Ukraine. You can see the flag of United States put next the Ukrainian flag, and you can see all these narratives that the Euromaidan revolution in 2014 was the inscenated by foreign secret services. That the genocide of Russian-speaking Ukrainians is happen in Donbass and so on. Yeah. That is the Russian-speaking inhabitants are persecuted, and the Russia, Donetsk and Luhansk republics or Belarus are depicted for those who are just fighting for their freedom. Yeah, under this picture is also a really nice picture when you can see, or when you speak Czech, you can see that is half Czech, half English or something, and the Vladimir Putin is here depicted as the protector of the all Slavic people. And the third really strong narrative was depicting all these events connected with COVID-19 pandemic are depicted as the preparation for the war. Yeah, don't believe the government. This is the same government who tried to persecute you or cut your civil rights because of non-existing pandemic, and don't believe to what is doing what is happening in Ukrainian, because the same government is telling you that. Yeah, and really this, and for the first time I find these narratives that the COVID-19 is only the preparation for the war. I find that it was April 2021 when was discovered this connection of this explosion in Vrbětice, and it was mentioned or announced that the Russian Secret Service was probably the perpetrator of this attack, and during this explosion 2 employees of this company died. Okay, the next slide. Yeah, but I can say, and I'm really proud of Czech government or Czech public institution. All those articles are from the Czech broadcast, and they start to really, yes, they start the debunking all kind of the fake news. They are connected with refugees from Ukraine, and yeah, and it's really now common. But I can say that really the official state agencies, also the state, the media as the Czech broadcast or Czech television, are really fighting against those kinds of disinformation. And when you see that, you can see that for example, they are using all those kinds of cliché or stereotypes or narrative. Ungrateful refugees, they are the wasting food, they are not happy with accommodation, they go to the restaurant and or shop and they didn't pay, they kick off the Czech child from the school and put the Ukrainians there. They kick off the Czech worker from the company to hire Ukrainians and so on. And I didn't find the information who it was based on the true events. And I am really happy for this service of the Czech broadcast. And in this first line, the last post, is about the reportage from Russia Today. This is the Russian state-run television in English, and they prepared some article reportage about the Russian student Lisa, who and she was suddenly kicked off from the Charles University, and it was just the way how to say that also in Czech Republic is really strong Russophobia. But I have to say when I say that, I have to say that I was really shocked that Russophobia is in Czech Republic, and I can understand that it's probably connected with our historical experience from 1968. But for example, on one playground, it was the sign, and it was written there, Rusákům vstup zakázán. And the Russians are not allowed to go to this playground. Yeah, and but I, for example, this arrival of the refugees from Ukraine was for a lot of the people, including state agency. It was the shock that really there are existing the loyal Ukrainians with Russian native speakers. Yeah, so first day after Russian invasion, I can find on the social media post from the people from my social bubble, from this liberal Democrats and so on, and they, for example, provided the handout. How can we find? How can we see what kind of when is somebody speaking, if there is Russian or Ukrainian and so on. But thanks Lord, now those kinds of negative sentiments against Russian people are going down. It was big demonstration in Prague for democratic thinking Russian people, and from my own personal experience, a lot of the Russian speaking volunteers are also, for example, on the Prague train station to providing help, and they are interpreting for Ukrainian refugees and so on. Okay, next slide. Yeah, it was really funny because when I goes to when I try find the illustration pictures for this slide, I started to typing Ukrainian, and I find this kind of pictures. Yeah, and it is really big problems that can we now see that it was 250,000 Ukrainians workers in Czech Republic before the war, but most of them were really depicted as the cheap labor, and also it was connected with their background because they came from Zakarpattia, the poorest region in Ukraine, and also it was for them it was really big opportunity to gain some money and send those money to Czech Republic, or they used 3 months visa, and really most of us had just this experience of this Ukrainian worker, and I can, and the second pictures, you can see one of the Czech artists designed this pillow with portrait of President Zelensky, and he sell that for people in need, and all money goes for their donation, for their collection of money. But you can say that really we jump from this distrust or from these stereotypes of Ukrainians as the cheap labor work to really heroization of Ukrainians. And I don't know, I have the experience when the wave of enthusiasm goes so high, it's really big danger that they fall down really quickly. But honestly say I expected this solidarity goes down now in April or in May, but yeah, I can say some cases, but generally I have to say that there's big support of Ukrainian people, and Ukrainian refugees are still continue. Next slide, please. Yeah, part of my trainings, what I am doing for volunteers or for the social workers or teacher, is also about cultural differences between Czech and Ukrainians, because it's really easy to believe that there are no cultural differences, especially in comparison with the Middle Eastern refugees. But there is one really strong cultural difference, the difference, and is the distrust in Ukrainian society to the government, to the official institution, and so on. And I can say, and I hope that you didn't see that as the stereotyping, but the bribery or corruption is really widespread in Ukrainians. And in the Ukrainian society, or now in Czech Republic, in the Ukrainian community, is really strong feeling that when you didn't pay for the service, even that state service for free, you didn't have obtain good services. And it's also, and it's logical, it's really big role of the Ukrainian community, that you didn't believe to the officials' information, but you believe somebody from your community. And it's all, and from and Multicultural Centre is the long time active on this field. We had some projects focused on labor exploitation, labor migration, and so on. And we can, and it was funny because we are monitoring, we are mapping this dangerous practice, I don't know, until 2017, and nobody cared about that. But after arrival of Ukrainian women and children, and after first scam, find, discovered, and so on, I have to say, and I want to say that the feeling or the sentiment of Czech society is now really changing, and I hope that we can use this sentiment and maybe start some new projects, or just the rise and raise awareness about this problem. And the first picture is the article that the police warned about the scammers who are waiting for refugees from Ukraine. And I really like these second pictures. I forgot the name, but there is the one of the Ukrainian worker who took hunger strike because labor agency, but it's not the recruitment agency or I don't know, yeah, but it's the temporary jobs or temporary jobs providing agencies. And it's really, I can say that, and sorry for this, pardon my French, but they are the pimps. Maybe not in the sexual way, but they are really, really exploiting the migrants. They are using their vulnerable position. And for example, they cut their salaries. They didn't provide them the right contract. They took them really huge part of their money for intermediation or I don't know, accommodation and so on. And this guy had took the hunger strike because one of those temporary jobs agency didn't pay not his salary, it was the salary of his colleagues. And you can see the Ukrainian flag here. And this picture is from, it was after first wave of COVID-19 pandemic. And I really like these pictures because I had the feeling that in those times, nobody cares about Ukrainians. And the Ukrainian flag, which is now in Czech Republic everywhere, on the National Museum, on the St. Vitus Cathedral, on the Prague Castle, everywhere, on the trains and so on. Now, in this time, in 2020, in the spring 2020, nobody was moved or touched by Ukrainian flag. Okay, next slide, please. Yeah, and what I am expected, we have in autumn, in fall 2022, we have only local regional elections, but first picture is from our former Prime Minister Andrej Babiš, the populist politician, and he starts to speak, yeah, not help only to the Ukrainians, help also to our people. And the second post is for Pirate Party. This is really progressive liberal party, and in their post was also originally mentioned, we are giving also money to our people. But it was yesterday, and when I checked this Facebook post today, they changed that. But it's really, really tricky when we starting. You are acting on the field of modern history, so you know what's going on when we starting to divide the people to our people on those others. Okay, next slide, please. Yeah, and what is MKC doing? You know that I have really background in this main station initiative, and but for me it was really hard decision when I decided that I don't want, or I cannot volunteering now on the train station. Because also I have the responsibility for my colleagues in Multicultural Centre, and be director with full-time job. I can say that my mission, my role is different now, but a lot of my colleagues are volunteering or interpreting on the train station. But what I am doing, and I already mentioned that, I am running the trainings for not for refugees, for social workers, volunteers, and so on. And I can provide them also my own experiences with burnouts. Because, and I mentioned that in the beginning of presentation, when you didn't set the borders, when you don't provide refugees the independence, and also the responsibility for their own life, because our first reaction is really, really big compassion, and we want to take care about them and do everything for them. But this kind of approach is dangerous for us, and also is dangerous for them. So I am trying, and I really experienced it at least 2 times when I helped during the settlements process with these Iraqi or Syrian refugees. So I am trying to provide this kind of trainings, not only to the volunteers, but also for the teachers, because it will be really, really big topics when it is about at least 100,000 of Ukrainian children. Now they have the special groups at schools or in young youth centers and so on, but they had to enter in the Czech scholar system in September 2022. So it will be big challenge. I don't speaking about the maternity schools, the child groups and so on. But yeah, so it is my mission. And the second mission, if you can show the last slide. Yeah, after our experiences, we decided to use what I mentioned in a few slides ago, and is to use these strong community feelings, the strong trust between the members of Ukrainian community. And because first solution is the systematical change, and it is for a long time. But me and my colleagues Olga, we decided to start to really raise awareness about this topic of labor exploitation and so on. These first pictures, it was when I argue with chief of Czech trade unions in Czech Republic, and after that I was really quite assertive, and I invite myself to coffee to him and speak with him about all those kinds of problems, and he generally support us, and he told us this unserious temporary jobs offering agency. There is 2,300 in Czech Republic, and most of them are doing some kind of labor exploitation. So it's a really huge topic, and we want raise this topic now in the Czech society, and also the start this empowerment program and community activism within Ukrainian community. And that's why I am asking for donation, and please don't be afraid. I write for this up really, really huge amount of money, but I am not expecting that I can collect the money during this event. But if I can ask you, and you maybe, if you can share that this crowdfunding in your communities, by your friends, in your social media. I just want to try this opportunity, because I don't want to cannibalize other NGOs. They are now really trying to raise the funds for provide the basic service as the shelter and food. And when I have just mentioned the approach of Czech government, because it's, I don't know, 3 months after Russian invasion to Ukraine, all NGOs are doing their best, and we didn't receive from the state any kind of support. So we are using our reserves, or we are trying to change our running projects to assist to refugees. So, and yeah, I'm asking for support also, because my colleague Olga, I just want to say she is also the soccer player, and she is one of the founder of female anti-racist soccer team here in Czech Republic. And Olga is really important for us, because she is only one from our team who speaks Russian. So yeah, when you find the opportunity, and maybe just to share this crowdfunding, I will be really glad. And now I think I am run of my time. Wow, lot. So I can give you the time for questions.
Thank you so much, Electrician. So thank you so much. That was very powerful, and I've tried the technique of trying to learn a language by watching a lot of movies in another language, and it didn't work for me. So congratulations. Thank you for giving a fantastic.
Yeah, but English is widespread than Czech. So.
So again, well, thank you so much. So as I mentioned before, the people in the room can, if you want to raise your hand, I'll call on you and you can ask the question. And if you can't hear the question, Zuzana, let me know and I'll repeat it. And also for those of you who are on Zoom, if you could write your question in the chat room. And I saw some of my students there, so I would strongly encourage you all to think of a question too. I saw Kaylee and Bella and some others. So not to put you guys on the spot, but it would be great. So, but I'll let if anybody in the room has a question first, and then we'll look at the chat room as well. Yeah, so Jessie Harnasha.
Hi, my name is Jessie. Thank you. I'm from Prague as well. I actually used to volunteer for the Multicultural Centre about 20 years ago, I think. To see that you're still doing this work. I had a question about whether you see any positives regarding social welfare in the Czech Republic, whether you see any positive of the Ukrainian refugees or refugees from Ukraine, as you say, coming into the Czech Republic and potentially changing how some social policies work in the Czech Republic. What would be your...
Yeah, the situation is those that the Czech government create the separate system of Czech welfare system for the Ukrainians refugees. So I don't know why, but they didn't want to allow them to go to have the same condition as the Czechs. And in the same time, I find really stupid when they faced all this kind of hatred. So. Yeah, it's one thing, and second thing, I don't know if I understand correctly. You ask if I can see some benefits for the social welfare system in the long-term perspective.
Yeah, let's say I don't know, policies for women or childcare or things like that. But you know, it's just the increase of children, for example, that will be required at nurseries. You know, whether you see maybe some changes there.
I have to think because really maybe they will highlight a lot of the problems that are current in Czech society. For example, with the schools, with the maternity schools for the little children, because there was not enough places for children before the war. So now maybe they arrive highlighted these problems, and also maybe the topic of the part-time jobs, because now we have, I don't know, 100,000 of single moms in Czech Republic, because and traumatized single moms in Czech Republic. So maybe our government will start, and they spoke about that, for example, to allow good part-time jobs or support the child groups in the companies and so on. So it could be it could be possible. And also my good feeling is that is really this government, yeah, is right, the economic right government, but they really listen experts, the sociologists and so on. So maybe we can expect those kind of changes. I heard about that.
Questions in the chat.
For me, it's a little bit difficult to read the questions in chat because I'm on my phone.
Yeah, I'll read them aloud. So look, my students, they're stepping up. So I'll read one from Kaylee first. So Kaylee asks, are there ways that students can help raise awareness about the Ukrainian crisis? And it's a separate question. What are some ways to prevent disinformation on social media? So basically, I mean, I was going to ask a similar question. This is a very powerful talk, and just not just as a student here at UNC, but what if you, for those of us who are living in the US, I mean, what do you think our role should be in this, or what can we do to help? We're farther away, and
yeah.
yeah.
Maybe I don't know. Yeah, maybe because I can see really big connection between the far right scene in the United States and also with the Russian disinformations and the Russian populist, not populist, Russian nationalists. And it's really that, for example, if you say this Maria Butina, this Russian spy female woman who was expelled from the United States, I don't know, 3 years ago and so on. Now she is one of the faces of this campaign Z for fighting against existing fascism in Ukraine. So, and I don't know how is in the United States widespread this kind of awareness about this risk. Because some of our projects about disinformation are in the Czech Republic also supported, or at least morally supported by some US institution and NATO institution and so on. But for example, what I can recommend, and you can check that if you speak Czech or English, you can find that. There is something like the resistance in Czech society and also in Baltic countries, and they call themselves Czech elves. And when elves are like in Tolkien, and when I show you this infographic, this graph about what is going in these disinformation groups, it came from the website of Czech elves, and I can say that it's really, they are, for example, they are checking the chain emails, because in the Czech Republic, the older generation don't use the social media, but it's something like called chain emails. They are still circulating in the society. And for example, Czech elves are collecting those chain emails and just record them or just archive them. And they really started from scratch. But now, really, I can say they was successful in this kind of raise awareness for those topics of disinformation. And there is this is the volunteer movement.
Could I actually ask another follow-up question? I mean, has there been anything written about, say, what we would call disaster tourism, or like people arriving, especially to Poland, maybe often to try to help and with the best intentions, but maybe making things not so worse? And that just also, again, it comes to the same question. Many of us are in this room are scholars of the Czech Republic, and we'll probably spend much of the summer there. And it's are there ways to be helpful without are there ways to be helpful without engaging
it was really part of my mission when I prevent this kind of people to go to the Slovak, Polish, Ukrainians borders. I really told them, no, please, those people came to the Czech Republic, and the assistance will be long-term assistance, and your help will be helpful when the first wave of volunteers burn out. And they already burn out. Yeah, your help will be really helpful and needed during the integration. Please save your gas or oil for going to the borders, and use those gas for picking up the Ukrainian child from the school and bring him to the soccer or something like that. Yeah, really, because it's really natural that we want help, and we want help now and immediately, because it's something that is helping us. It's the activity is helping us. How it is the way how we can face this stress and this trauma. And yeah, there is the war in Europe. I can say that is the war in Europe, and after 2 years of COVID pandemic, and a lot of the people are really down. And it's the same. I don't know if you heard or saw the situation in Czech Republic during the first wave of the COVID-19 pandemic, that all of us are saving the masks. Yeah, because there was the mask in the Czech Republic, and people were really scared and so on. And it was also the big wave of solidarity and so on. But it was vanished in half year. Yeah, but it's really my most important advice, and this also came from my experience, is ask refugees for their needs. It's the magical word, need. Yeah, because we are always thinking we know the best for them. Yeah, and we want to help them, and I don't know. I will go for shop and make the shop, the grocery for them. But why? They are the independent people. They can use the Google Translator, and when they bring at home another kind of flour or milk, they have to lend it. Yeah. But sometimes I feel, and sometimes when I speak, the people who really want to help and to be caring and so on, sometimes I feel really cynical in this moment. But I have to say this, there is the only way.
I'm going to go back to the chat here since I saw.
Mhm.
So I'll yeah, I'll move to Bella's question here. So, and she asks, have you seen a major difference between how male and female refugees are treated when they're
Mhm.
trying to seek asylum? And do you see that aspect changing in the future, or will it remain the same? And I guess that you can approach that in all the cases you talked about.
Yeah, it's in this situation after Russian invasion, the most of the Ukrainians men had to stay in Ukraine for fighting. It's the I don't know if there is mobilization in Ukraine or something like that. So just the single moms are arriving to Czech Republic, and it's also when I make the comparison with this previous refugee situation in 2015, 2016, I can say that one of these things is really cultural movement, and there is not so much people in Czech Republic. They understand the Middle Eastern culture, and they understand it's usual for them to send first young men because they can go head to jobs and to support female members of the family at home. So this is the first thing and yeah, it was I can understand that it was it seems dangerous or scary when they only young men are coming. This is the first aspect, and the second aspect is that almost nobody understands the situation on the Middle East. No, and for example, there was still American troops when in 2015 the Afghani refugees came to Europe. But for example, these Hazars, this ethnic minority in Afghanistan, they are persecuted by all other ethnic group in Afghanistan. So most of the Afghani refugees in this time was these Hazars because they have another type of religion and so on. Yeah, but when we speak about the Syrian war and Syrian conflict, there is the difference because in the comparison of Russian invasion to Ukraine, we can say that where is the good and where is the evil, and is really helpful for acceptance of the refugees from Ukraine, and especially that is there the single moms or not single moms, but the women with children. Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, this is this is my opinion about that. I don't know if there is really based on gender roles, but maybe different gender roles in society, Middle Eastern and Ukrainian. Yeah, that, and also this situation with mobilization, and that all Ukrainians men between 16 and 60 have to stay in Ukrainian. and they really sent 16 years old young boys out from the borders. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. So I think I saw one other question in the chat. And I think I'll ask Jalen, another student of mine. Thank you, Jalen. And so Jalen has asked, what has aspects like colorism played a role in labor exploitation? What is the process for systemic change regarding exploitation? So two kind of questions there. I think it also gets the question, of course, about race and all the reports about Roma refugees being
the aspect of colorism is really strong. Now I can really see really strong negative sentiments connected to Ukrainians Roma, and really that it's really a lot of the cases of systematic racism that, for example, they really didn't allow them to ask for this temporary protection in Czech Republic, and they sent them out. And I am participating also the working group in our Ministry of Interior, who is responsible for all this migration stuff, and they really have really a lot of the prejudice. In the same time, they had the problems because, for example, a lot of these Ukrainians Roma doesn't speak Ukrainians, even Russian. A lot of them speak Hungarian, and a lot of them had also the Hungarian citizenship, because Orban gave the Ukrainians or double Ukrainians and Hungarian citizenship to the lot of the people on this Ukrainians Hungarian border area. So, for example, this is fine. That I find the only reason, one good, or I don't know, reason that when those Roma people from Ukraine have your Hungarian citizenship, we have to follow the rules. So the Hungary is responsible for take care about them. But in the same time, I know the situation of Roma people in Hungary, and it's nothing good. But yes, what I find good, but it's really the drop of the water in the ocean, is that really also the Ministry of Interior are cooperating with Roma NGOs or communities and so on, and it seems that when was established something like the guaranteeing community, it works. But really, it's also requires some openness and to be without stereotypes. And there are a lot of the neo-Nazis between Czech police and other force, I don't know, soldiers and so on. So I can say even that the Ministry of Interior will have really open and nice policy to the Roma refugees, and they didn't have. They tried to do something, but they are somewhere stuck in the middle. That they really face this daily racism, but it's the same time of the daily racism that are facing the Czech Roma people always. Yeah, and also what is really shocking idea is there are a lot of the empty flats in the former Sudetenland, in this border area in the Czech Republic, but it's also the regions with biggest percentage of the social excluded areas. And it's really, it's the stupidity to put the Ukrainian people there and just the social problems existing in this area go deep. Yeah, and just also to in this settlement or resettlement, or I don't know, will just put the Ukrainians families or single moms to the situation of that they will be forced to accept this culture of social exclusion. So it's really important. It's really big topic, and I don't know if I have some solution and so on. I really like all those kinds of grassroots activity, because, for example, there in Ústí is really in Trmice is really great local community with a really great school and really great school headmaster, and she really accept all Roma pupils, and she have really great inclusive approach in her school. And this is the moment, or this is the example from where we can start. Yeah, and the second part of question was connected to colorism. Yeah, and systematic changes. Yeah, that's why we were. I was rude, and I invite myself to the chief of Czech trade unions, because it's also really big stereotypes against the foreign workers in Czech unions. Czech unions depicting themselves as those who are protecting the labor position for all people. Yeah. So yeah, this is yeah, and also what I also can see the opportunity in this moment is that now it's really time that is broken the stereotypes about Ukrainians, just the cheap labor force, and it's really in media or in mainstream television and so on. They are really starting that a lot of this women from Ukraine, they have really good qualification, good position, and maybe also it's this moment when we have to catch this opportunity and really promote, really to don't let do Ukrainians to doing just this less pay jobs, and allow them to use their skills, and don't allow not only to Ukrainians but all people, because the labor market is changing and the positions are changing, and there are coming a lot of the challenges connected to robotization and so on. So a lot of the people, even from Czech society, will be in the need of requalification, skills development, and so on. And it is a good example from, I don't know, Sweden or Denmark, Norway. And they really start in when they had I don't know 30,000 refugees from Eritrea or other, I don't know, African country. They in this moment they started the special program for all habitants, including refugees, for the skill development, and it was help them to go over the economic crisis, and also it helps to accept the refugees without not any, but without big negative sentiments.
Thank you. So we have about 15 minutes left, and so Patricia has a question.
I have one question. I live in Košice, which is, as probably you know, the city not so far from Ukrainian border. It's about 100 kilometers. And I'm curious about how municipality, for example, of Prague, responded to the crisis. Because, for example, in Košice, there was quite great support from municipality of the town, and there was also conflict between municipality and government, because they had a great financial burden with the crisis, and they asked for the money from the government, and there was quite conflict in Košice about the financing of the help for refugees. So how, for example, in Prague, is it solved?
I can say when I have also comparison to other Visegrad 4 countries, because we are in the touch with other migrant assisting NGOs, and I can say even there are these problems with Roma refugees, or that we are still waiting for, as NGOs, we are still waiting for money from government and so on. But what I can say that a lot of the services providing by state or by municipality are going really smooth, and I didn't saw any kinds of conflict between Prague municipality and the government. Yeah, I can see that there is the really. I didn't see any kind of conflict, and and Czech Republic was really well prepared. Yeah, not perfect, but for example, the war started in Tuesday, and at Monday it was already this check-in center or this reception center created in municipal library in Prague. Yeah, and after that it was moved to the Congress Center. So I didn't see any kinds of tensions between Prague and government, and I didn't hear that even when I participated in some meetings and so on. Yeah, but for example, I see that a lot of the initiatives in Slovakia or in Poland was really dependent on the work of refugees. And in Prague is that also, all this train station service is provided by refugees, just with little coordination of NGOs or Prague municipality. But really the response of Czech government, I have to say, is the best possible.
Thank you.
So I'll
First in history.
that's right. An exception in history. I'm going to look back at the chat. I think I saw.
Yeah, I'm going just put my light on because I am in the dark now.
Yeah, that's good. That'll give me a chance to read some of the. So we have about 10 minutes left. So I think I saw some that overlapped a little bit.
So you can see me.
So I'm going to close the chat, and I think Cynthia Paces has a question, and then I'll go back to the chat and combine some of those questions.
Hi, I just want to thank you first for the work you're doing. And since you've asked us to share the links to your fundraising efforts, what should we tell the people that we let know about your work, where the funding would be going to, and you know, what your biggest needs are right now in terms of the fundraising efforts?
Yeah, thank you for this question. It's really now is the really unique situation when we can catch the opportunity and really change something, because the Czech society is not now can see these women from Ukraine, and they can imagine how dangerous are those kind of labor exploitation for them. And also when you will speak about our project is also because that's why I use this opportunity to ask for this money here, because really now a lot of the organization, and I can perfectly understand, are now really active, and they are raising funds just to provide the basic service, basic social work, housing, food, and so on. But it's necessary to look forward and look in the future and really thinking in the long-term view. So, and it's really, when I imagine the situation of these moms or of this woman that they came, and my experience is that when the women are coming alone to the foreign countries, they are really first days, they are really lost, and they are really starving for some kind of support or some kind of community and so on. And in this moment, they became really easier target for all those kinds of I don't know, unserious work agencies or intermediators. I can call it mafia, really. And we decided, but after that, because they wanted to provide, they provide everything for their children. They want to provide them housing, food, and so on. They are really in need to accept any kind of job, even with unfair conditions. So that's why I find I think it's really important to support these projects. Maybe it's not something like the really immediate help, but it's really thinking in the future, and it's really came. I can say this my colleague is really great, and she ran over hundreds of interviews with Ukrainian workers. And she is helping. She's interpreting now. She was many times in these evacuation trains, so she needed the ground, and also it's follows these our missions for independence and autonomy of the migrants. Yeah, so that's why it's when I imagine the situation that I fled to foreign country, and I am really in need that accept any kind of job. I am really in a vulnerable position, and we think to send good information and to identify the informal leaders in this community, to train them, to provide them training, information, connection to the government, connection to the other NGOs, and to just be somebody in this community. Maybe it's this use this disadvantage of this close connection in the Ukrainian community and change that in advantage. Because it's the native language or the membership in community is big factor. It's not nonsense, but make thousands of flyers, information campaigns, and so on is not so powerful as this empowerment work in communities.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any more questions from us? Otherwise, I'll go to the chat. So we have about 5 minutes left, so I will go back to the chat, and I think I saw something that I'm going to sort of use to combine with a question that I had too. I guess I'll take some of the questions that were there and weave them into a question that I have. Actually, some of the students there are in a class of mine that I'm teaching about conspiracy theories and disinformation. Mm-hmm. And like, I was really interested, first of all, the anthropologist in you came out when you talked about entering into a community, the online community where various narratives are. And we've been reading in our class a lot of work by the Center for Information Technology colleagues here who say the same thing, that simply fact-checking doesn't work. You have to think about the narratives that are happening in communities and also the systems that allow this information to move. And I was also very taken by your praise for the media, but also for the government for entering into that. And that's part of the question here is, one, if you could say a little bit more about what, I think it's the Ministry of Interior has a section to fight information, if you know anything about that. And second of all, this is more of a related question, is how grassroots movements like Milion Chvílek and other community mass-based, but also locally based community organizations, also what their role has been in fighting disinformation, and also perhaps mobilizing to do the kind of work that you're doing, the good. I'm thinking of the gathering that Milion Chvílek and others organized on Václavák after the war began. So those are two questions, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So it's the attitude of our government was changed, and it came with the changing of our ruling party and of our new government, because Andrej Babiš himself used not disinformation, but something like his own troll farm, and he influenced discussions on the social media. And also, I remember one of his speech, and in his speech he praised chain emails. Oh, there is something really interesting, and it is the source of the information who are not the media give you, and so on and so on. So it when I heard that, also, no, he legitimized this cyber attacks and disinformation campaign against his own country, and these changes really came with new government, and also it was really good. Media was all time interested about this topic, and they really raised this topic and make some debunking or fact checking. But this is not enough. But what is also, it was really the situation with coronavirus. When in Czech society, this anti-vaccine, first they spread really dangerous disinformation. I don't know if you heard about ivermectin. It's some medical prepared for horses against worms. And some people in Czech Republic took this ivermectin. I know that Donald Trump advised to use bleach, so it's something similar. And it was dangerous for the people. And some of those disinformators really make a lot of the videos. They really try to raise money for this kind of videos. And after that, it was in fall, in autumn 2021, those kind of the people starting to attack doctors or politicians. And I think it was this game-changing moment when the disinformation started to be visible, to be something. It's like the Capitol attack in January 2021 or 21. Yeah, it was really the moment that says, yeah, there is the really serious problem. It's nothing connected with freedom of speech. Yeah, and this how you mentioned this department on the Ministry of Interior, this Center Against Terrorism and Hybrid Threats, they were active. They did great work, but it wasn't the political will for them to change something. But this government, because also there is the big campaign against these 5 pro-democratic parties before the election, and how you chat mentioned, a lot of the volunteers from Milion Chvilek or Czech Elves or other movements was really active to debunking this disinformation. So maybe because these 5 coalition parties was targets of those disinformations, they became active in this field. Yeah, but in the same time, what is on not only way, but really I can see there is the division in families. Yeah, it was especially with COVID-19 that it was the families was really split in 2 parts, vax and anti-vax. But also I find, for example, some of my friends, they had their mothers or grannies, they are reading those chain emails, and they believe in Russian interpretation of the events in Ukraine, and it's scary.
Thank you so much. I think so. We're out of time. Do you have any last words or anything else you would like to say before I?
No. Thank you for invitation. It was really a pleasure. I am admiring your Zoom because it's really nice, and it also allows me to see you all, and thank you for this opportunity.
Well, thank you.